Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Cut, Ben, episode 6. How was your Thanksgiving weekend and what's been going on, man?
It was a fantastic Thanksgiving weekend. I came in and was with you in spirit down in Texas in the hill country. My first time in that little pocket between San Antonio and Austin. Got to spend time with my little nephews, my sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and my wife. It was lovely. I do have to say, I know we had this conversation the last episode pre-Thanksgiving. They went and picked up this turkey at this really awesome barbecue joint, smoked, should be all good. It wasn't good. It was so dry. It was very blah, but the mashed potatoes and gravy still undefeated. Cody, how was yours? What'd you do?
It was great. We went down, stayed with my brother-in-law, his wife, and their kids, and it was the first time the cousins were all together in a long time. So, everything that I think you want to have happen on Thanksgiving luckily happened for us. But what happened to this turkey, man? Barbecue is supposed to be it. And I know we're usually talking about like beef barbecue, a little bit of pork barbecue here, but you'd think they'd figure out how to keep a turkey from drying out.
For sure. I didn't understand it. I mean, the bark was really good. The dark meat was good, but the white meat was just If you didn't have mashed potatoes on it, you needed to go, you needed to drink a whole bottle of wine to get it down.
Well, good. Well, hopefully you guys had plenty of wine and everybody else out there had a good Thanksgiving. But what do you want to cover this week? I mean, we had a fantastic tourist sauce episode. Some would say the ultimate pillow fight. But, interesting golf course, kind of made sense, kind of didn't make sense at times. I think we'll cover a little bit of that probably on the back end, but where do you want to start at today?
Yeah, I would love to get us started with some other things that we've kind of been thinking about. It's the turn of the year. There's a lot of things going on. I know, at least on my side of the house, and pretty confident your side of the house right now, that New Year planning is like a massive thing. And I know you had Neil on, and you guys had some really good conversations on downrange about that. But in our end, I feel like we're a little bit more the ones that are like moving and shaking at this point, and kind of getting stuff out the door, and finishing some final things, as opposed to I guess while also looking ahead, but more importantly, making sure we dot our I's and cross our T's for 2022. So let's just get started. What are you working on right now? What's in your worldview, your NLU universe at the current moment?
It's a great question. Yeah, and you're spot on. A lot of people already have their eyes pointed towards 2023, and like I know on the video side, we're like desperately trying to get tourist sauce out the door with other videos. So monitoring.
Well, we used the e-brake last week. We had to. We had to use it.
Sometimes you just run out of days, and it's okay. We'd rather put out quality products out there instead of rushing something out the door. But really monitoring that, trying to. I work a lot on the business side with Neil, so doing a bunch of contract renewals and everything else like that. And then this isn't the funnest thing to say, the project management side of the business absolutely stinks. And I'm building out everything for 2023. So it's fun to kind of have foot still in 2022, monitoring videos and making sure everything still is going out that we need to, and we have the right people working and meeting deadlines, but at the same time, putting the frame together on 2023 and seeing what we're going to be putting out, and really excited about it.
Yeah, that's great. When are you going in for your PMP certification? That make that project management official.
My wife, she got her PMP cert like 2 years ago, and I saw her just grinding for like weeks and weeks studying up. And then when test time came, because of COVID, she took the test like online at home. And we actually sent her away for the weekend to a hotel by herself just to cram, get everything done at the last second and take the test. And luckily, and not really luckily, but not surprising, she passed like on the first try. Great. And then, come home and she's like telling me all this stuff about it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Project management is what it is. I think I've done like 16 years total of project management so far.
Right.
I might not have the certifications for it, but it's a-okay in my book. It just takes a little bit of time to build it out.
Right. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Not to derail us too quickly, but I'm happy to see you're wearing your blue today. Both wearing our blue to support our guy, Jake Trago. You're the Buffalo, in for, first big cancer treatment, chemotherapy today. So blue representing or supporting colon cancer. So good to see you wearing your blue. We're
Absolutely.
proud.
Absolutely. Benny, what do you got going on, man?
Yeah, a lot of things going on. I kind of have my fingers in a lot of different parts of the business. So, obviously Cyber Monday, Black Friday in the shop, big, focus and push for everyone in the merchandising space around the world. No different here.
I honestly, that's one side that I don't really pay too close attention to, besides like, oh, that looks really good. But how much work goes into this?
It is the culmination of a year's work, I would say. And I know that might sound dramatic, but it's true, right? We start in January concepting and figuring out, what we want to have as our NLU branded stuff, which, I think anyone that has any sort of merchandising understanding, it's like, that's where companies make money, right? Is having their own label. Resale is great, but when you add in, kind of costs associated with getting merchandise from the retailer to our shop, shipping costs, packaging costs, warehousing costs, running the shop, paying people, right? There's not a lot of meat on that bone. But where that kind of comes down to is having a good variety of stuff that we've taken and custom created. So that starts in January. Hell, that starts right now. Casey sent a message this morning in the chat, like, hey, December 1, we're on to 2023. So, it takes a long time, a lot of effort to get that going. And then it's the culmination of it, on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And it's funny, man. Purchasing trends are so interesting. Like what's the difference between, November 27th or November 28th? There's nothing, but there's a massive difference on the back end. It's just people have this thing in their mind that this is when they got to buy. And it happens. And it's fun to watch. It's a lot of pressure. You definitely put a lot of pressure on yourself when that time comes. You kind of have to have the orchestra just building. And then, we're crescendoing right now. So there's a lot that goes into it. Casey has to do a lot of project management on the back end with the warehouse, what to expect, set priorities for our partners, that type of stuff. Cause like we're nothing without our partners, without Shopify, without, the warehouse group. So there's a lot of people that we need to get in line, and they're also getting banged over the head with everyone else that they have a relationship with. So, why are we so special? Anyways, there's a lot that goes into it. Advertisement, being, the piece that I'm a part of, and getting that out the door, making sure that we're representing, what our vision was or what we've created in the best light possible to get people's attention, interest. And I think that the one thing about NLU in the pro shop that I appreciate greatly and makes my job a lot easier is, truly we stand behind our products, right? We're not advertising just for the sake of, let's just get as much money in the door as possible. Like our goal every single year, every Black Friday, every Cyber Monday, is to make the experience extremely seamless for those that do purchase, and also to continue to lower the amount of returns that are received on our end, because the products are just that damn good. So that makes it easy. It makes me enthusiastic and excited about advertising the products, because it's like, you're going to get this stuff, you're really going to like it, and it's going to, be good for you or the golfer in your life. So yeah, a lot of words there, big word salad, but yeah, Cyber Monday, Black Friday, it's definitely the crescendo. It's what we work towards, those names, that Black Friday name, that's not untrue, right? This is kind of where we want to see how our year is going to end up. In the merchandising front. So it's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
That's a lot.
Yep. Absolutely.
What else? I know you got a lot of video projects on your plate right now.
Yep.
What are you working on?
A lot of video projects. So we actually have 3 film rooms in the can. I hope I'm not spilling any beans. I guess you're going to see them anyways. But we're going to get out before the end of the year. So that's right now that's in my court. Frankly, it's with all the other stuff going on, it's taken a little bit of a back seat, but we're working through it. So hopefully second week of December through the end of the year, there'll be a film room that's coming out every week from there. And they're from all over the world, which is really sick. Which it really gets me excited. Cody, we'll see in 2 of those, buddy. Yeah, so working on that, and you know, obviously that there is that video editing piece, but there's also the herding of the cats, for lack of a better term, to get people in for like reaction stuff and getting those recorded and dialed in. It's not as easy as just taking this round of golf that we've played and turning it into a piece of content. But we're working on that. We're also working on process and procedure for next year, so that film room can become a little bit more seamless, a little bit easier to get out the door, and be a little bit more of like anchor content for the duration of the year, as we have our, you know, kind of core stuff that we're working on in the meantime, that gives us the opportunity to be a little bit more thoughtful, spend a little bit more time on, and not feel the pressure. So working on that process as well. And, you know, simultaneously also using some as some testing grounds. And then Instagram, Tourist Sauce content, working heavily on that. You know, Tourist Sauce is a funny one, right? Like, we have a really great built-in core audience. But it being a series that doesn't come out all in one, you have to continue to, you know, beat the drum. So, you know, luckily this year, I think we did
Typical.
a really.
Wait, you want? Are you a millennial here? You want everything to come out all at once?
I guess so. Yeah, but yeah, you know, being able to continue to beat that drum, which I think that we've done a really good job during Tourist Sauce, of like capturing enough stuff to, you know, work in that buffer zone where, you know, previously it's just been, hey, let's get it out the door. And even that is a struggle. So, yeah, been doing a bunch of that. And then, you know, Roost stuff that's, you know, yeah. Roost is for sure the thing that I love most about the NLU community. And, you know, it's just really got reflected this year in the Roost Club Championship. I think Neil said it best yesterday on our captain's call. He's like, frankly, this went way better than we were anticipating. Like, you captains are awesome and did a really, really good job. So, yeah, just getting that ready to go, getting kind of plan out the door, which is great. Cause, like, you know, frankly, I think that if we were being honest with ourselves, we wouldn't have thought that we'd have a good plan in place until probably March of 2023 for 2023. But I think we're actually going to do it this year and have a good plan in place for, you know, kind of the broad elements that is the NLU Roost effort. So yeah, working on that as well.
Any crazy changes to Roost for next year?
You know, not really. We are adding a Roost, at least one, which is exciting. And it happens to be the area that within the NLU community is most discussed. Can you guess where it might be?
The Midwest?
Pittsburgh. Exactly right.
That's awesome. Very, very excited for that. Happy for everybody in Pittsburgh. Ultimately, if people are watching this, they don't have a clue what Roosts are. What are they? Yeah,
so Roosts are geographically centric, NLU-based golf clubs that get together and you know, play some sort of season-long race to then have a group that represents your geographic location in a regional. So very similar to the Little League World Series. These regions come together to play regional events with their supporting team, their all-star team, for lack of a better term. They come together, and whoever wins the regional event will then represent that region and their Roost at the Roost Club Championship at the end of the year, which is a worldwide, I mean that honestly, event that is going to be at Sweetens Cove this next year. So it was in Kansas City this past year, Sweetens Cove this year, which is really, really exciting. And then there will be, you know, crowned the Roost Club Championship, you know, Roost champion team for those individuals. And they get a bunch of perks and fun stuff that comes with that too.
That's awesome.
Meaningless competition, Cody. It's
no,
the
for
peak.
Sure. Get involved if people are out there and they're looking for a group of people to play with. Find your Roost. Find your community.
Exactly right.
Where's everybody else right now? I mean, I'm saying this. I got a full schedule today. We're recording early because of me. I apologize for that. But I got TC and Solly in Dallas with me. They're not at the house. I played golf yesterday up at Fields Ranch. They checked out the East course there, which is one of the film rooms that we have coming up. And then tonight we're going to a behind the scenes, the actual recording of the dudes in their Thursday night football game, which I'm very, very excited about to learn about really how they produce this whole thing, try to get as deep in the weeds with them as I can to try to improve our live show capabilities, and just add another tool kind of to the toolbox. So very, very excited about that. But what else is going on with the crew? Have you have signs of life from anyone else?
Yes, signs of life definitely from DJ. He's in Milwaukee. He's doing his thing. He's cranking away. He's full throttle, wide open on tourist sauce right now. So he's still working hard on that while also doing some planning on the back end for 2023. Neil's spending some nice quality time with the fam in Atlanta, which is always heartwarming. I think he's out playing golf right now, that sucker. Love to go play. It's way too cold up here. And yeah, gosh, I mean, Casey is at home getting beat up with customer service and trying to get through. And then I don't know, what's Biggie doing?
I think Big went to an NBA game last night in Denver, so yeah. I know he's at home. I'm sure he's freezing, but anxiously awaiting probably more snowfall so he can get up on the mountain and go have another lovely weekend there.
Yeah, he's living the life right now. I find myself to be jealous of Big Randy from time to time, but not to say I would change shoes with him by any means, but
right,
he's kind of living the life.
We talked about that before, hey, winter plans, trying to continue to improve golf the best you can. But I know you're a huge ski guy. Have you ever thought about moving to a winter location?
100%. I mean, I was gung ho to move to outside of Denver. Out of college, that was 100% the plan.
Not out of college. I'm talking about now.
Now, man, I don't know. I've been so physically hurt from skiing that frankly, if it bothers me, I don't get excited about skiing anymore. It's more like my wife's like, we're gonna go on our annual ski trip. Get excited, and I'm just like, ugh, don't get hurt. Come on, I become a huge wuss. And once I'm out there, I'm fine. I'm great. I don't think about it. I ski just like I usually do, and it's great. But and frankly, and I know, shit, dude, I'm not a pro golfer. I'm not even a really highly competitive amateur golfer. But all I can think about when I'm on my way to the mountain is dude, don't get hurt. You're gonna screw up your golf season next year. Don't do that. It's not worth it. Anyways, I absolutely love the mountains. I love everything about it. I think I like it in the summer better. Just come to that conclusion, man. Last year, Big Sky in the middle of the summer. It's it's as good as it gets.
I completely agree there. Our friend Alex Diebold is out training again, and I look at his Instagram story every day of fresh powder and him out doing ridiculous tricks and everything else like that with the rest of the U.S. snowboard team. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then I think about it for a second. I'm like, yeah, that would probably be cool for a couple hours. And then I'm like, right. I probably got my fill for the year.
Yes. Yeah. No, I still love exploring. Don't get me wrong. And went to Whistler last year. It's freaking sweet. Had such a good time. But it's definitely turned more into the après ski than go get it all day long.
No, ideas. Plenty of other ideas out there. I know we've talked a lot about other content video things, but anything that you kind of got floating around in your brain, thinking about doing, good ideas, whatnot?
Yeah, definitely. So it's funny. We kind of always sit down and dream about what's the perfect scenario. What would DJ specifically, what would be the dream project to go on? And that's where Week of the Life came from.
Yeah.
Was what do you want to watch, DJ? Right. And we've always talked about that. And the one that we've always thought about, and the more I think about it, the more I think it would be potentially the best golf content to ever exist, would be a Week in the Life, the US Ryder Cup team. That would just be so sweet. I don't think that that's even remotely possible. Why in the world would they let us into that and then let the world into that? Very intimate and personal and frankly, highly exclusive group. But that's I don't know. Do you think it could get better than that? That seems like it.
I know that would be incredible footage. Just the approvals in order to do that would be
insane.
Not even insane. It's just it'd just probably be like a no right out of the gate, which is
100%.
a shame. I wonder why people. I mean, I know that I'm sure. I know PGA of America puts together like highlights and stuff like that, but I don't know why they don't like actually embed a crew. I know the PGA Tour this last year for President's Cup did like a really good job of not only getting like behind the scenes action, but pictures, videos, everything else like that. But you're right, Ryder Cup would be like the GOAT version of that. I think of it like on the
Solheim.
yeah, it's true. I also think of like maybe just because of like our young hitter program. I think of the funniest thing because people are fascinated by it and talk about it a lot is if we like Andrew Olligood playing on Latin America for a couple years now and like following him for a week of like the travel, the trying to assimilate into a new culture, still preparing for a tournament, moving on in the next week, dealing with jet lag from bouncing from country to country to country, like would just be so fascinating.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. And just the people, places, the experience that we have all we do is, look at the leaderboard and kind of see what what the outcome was. But I think there's a lot more that goes into that, a lot more experiences and things that would come across visually very very interesting.
I'd cross like one time zone and I'm like dead for like a couple days. I can
know.
only imagine what it's like for him.
Yeah.
But speaking of like, no, we also thought last year like Stanford was going to get shut down.
Yeah,
probably
for
not.
sure.
Well, we knew that like the university was probably going to be pretty friendly about it, but like getting it through the NCAA, like we thought that wasn't going to happen at all, and it did.
Well, that and like, what is the benefit to a team like Stanford of letting us come in and do that, right? Like to potentially mess up their juju or like take a week of practice away from them, like the best players in the world, right? Like trying to be the best team that ever existed. What else schmoes going in there? How would that help, right? And I don't know how or why they let us in, but I think it was like mutually beneficial. I don't know how to like judge that, but
100%.
I don't know what better recruiting tool you could possibly need than showing that off.
I've been watching coaches. Yeah, I've been watching the tour sent like for PGA University. They sent the film out to Lubbock to follow Ludwig at Texas.
Yeah.
And like have some like really cool, not only the footage itself, but like the reels and everything that they've been putting out now. It's like very cool because he is like as normal, down to earth, like just a college kid as you possibly can be. And like, he's going to have a phenomenal career as a professional golfer, wherever he decides to play or do or anything else like that. But like seeing that come out and then knowing that like, oh, next week, like Ludwig's on tour sauce. Like,
yeah,
hell, let's go.
Yeah. I got a little swing envy reel of Ludwig coming out next week that I hope that people can appreciate it as much as I did out there watching it.
I know it's one of those things where I can't wait to see it on film, but we say this all the time about people who are really good, like ball strikers, but it wasn't just that. Like the ball coming off the club face, it doesn't matter what club it was. Like his control of the golf ball is just phenomenal. Like every swing, I was just like, man, you make it look so easy. And I know it's not that, but for a guy who like he hadn't swung a club in like a week and a half and has just been like chilling on vacation and then showed up midway through a round.
No warm up.
Is just like, all right, let's go. Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah.
I hope it plays well.
It will. It will. And I hope Ludwig, he was so personable. He was just such a good guy. And I know that'll come through. But that mixed with his incredible ability to hit the golf ball, like I'm with TC, man. Like he might be an apex predator.
Yeah, he's gonna be really good, really good. And again, he's like the most down to earth like kid you could ever imagine.
Yeah,
phenomenal stuff.
Do you remember the conversation about the whole NIL stuff? I've seen a couple things pop up about that recently.
I was just thinking about that too. Like the number one thing that I learned from hanging out with Ludwig was about NIL, and like not him like poo-pooing it or anything else like that, but like finding out that because he is a foreign student in the United States and the way that the visa process works, he's here on a student visa, meaning that he cannot earn an income
Yeah, you'd
while
have
in
to
the
get an
United States.
H-1B visa to a different visa
Yeah,
to
so he's the number one ranked amateur in the world, would be making buku bucks in NIL, and he's literally not making anything. Nothing.
yeah. Yeah. He can when he goes home in his own country. But I mean, that's like so ridiculous, right? I mean, he's a star of, NCAA golf, and he's totally handcuffed, gets none of the benefits, and still chose to go back. He didn't have to, but he did, which I appreciate that even more.
I know, dude. And luckily, like all the changes that they've made to PGA Tour U and
Yeah.
starts and everything else like that, definitely beneficial for him to go back to do that. But I still like, it doesn't matter where, like if he's playing in the US or in Europe, like the dude's going to get his card. And like,
Yeah.
it's only a matter of time because he's so damn good.
Yeah. Yeah. You should come up for Big 12s at Prairie Dunes this year. He said it's his favorite course in the world, which is, that makes me very happy. Maybe we can catch the final day, maybe go out and, hit the ball.
Dude,
sometime the next day.
I completely agree. I think that like there's so much within like that area of the United States that is kind of just a huge gap that we could do some incredible content at.
100%. 100%. Couldn't agree more. Other ideas. The only other video project that I think that like we might actually do next year, in some capacity, it might not come out in this one specifically, but like a micro tourist sauce. Kind of to what you're saying, like this area, this location, Kansas, or going from Denver to Wichita or to St. Louis, right? Where it's like, there's probably like 5 or 6 golf courses that have a story that's worth telling, but that's not enough for a tourist sauce. So doing something like that, maybe 3 episode tourist sauce, micro tourist sauce would be really fun. That would get me excited.
More video content. We're gonna add another video offering to the table. Sign me up for that.
I love it. I love
Completely down. What do you got on here? Collabs. What, you want to go out and play with Fat Perez and the boys, or what? What are you signing us up for?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they could be one of my favorite follows right now. The guy, what's his name? Joey Cold Cuts and Bob does sports, and Fat Perez. Those guys, like, it's phenomenal watching them. Huge fans. I don't know if you've seen any of their stuff yet.
I have in small doses, but they crack me up.
It makes me smile every single time.
Yeah, maybe we can get the Holics out of retirement and do a little match against them.
Yeah, it'd be interesting for sure.
Okay, let's talk social stuff, because I know you and I always get a really, really nice giggle out of every time, Sully's got this massive platform, 400,000 people that he can, broadcast his ideas out to. And then there's always the, in my mind, there's like goats and woats of people that interact on social media. Woats, for example, being the gotcha crowd, right? Like Sully will put up something on Twitter, really thoughtful. Obviously, it's a solid job. He's extremely well educated. He checks his sources. He knows what he's doing, and thinks about this stuff all day long. And then you get these little commentators in there that try to get him and whatnot. And it always gives me a chuckle when you see Sully clapping back at golf guy 1276943 on Twitter that has 4 followers. So how would you rate your goats and your woats of social media interactors or commenters?
Yeah, the people who listen, for a long time I didn't have social media at all. And like more recently, I've had an Instagram account longer, and I definitely have had Twitter, because I was in the mindset based off of my last job. What I did is like you just kind of, I don't want to stayed in the shadows, but you just like, it really wasn't on my radar. And I think the only reason why I ended up getting an Instagram account was to follow golf accounts. I didn't really know much about like Twitter and the conversations and everything else going on at the time. But by far the worst Twitter people just like you were saying, the people who dissect anything, the people who come in with like, even if like a statement is a statement, unless you're like retweeting something and adding it on top of that, like everybody has their one perspective of it. I can say this morning, and like I'm a huge Friday guy. I love architecture and the way that Andy and the team cover it. I'm a big Shotgun Start listener. Yesterday, the Sergio's comments about Valderrama being like
Yeah.
the best course in all of Europe.
Which is so sick, first of all.
Well, I kind of get it. Like, okay, so it's up there a bit. I'd say that's like being very disingenuous to like all of Scotland, all of Ireland, all of Northern Ireland, like you name it. But like I also understand like why Sergio would say that, the context in which he said it, and like the course fit of Valderrama for his game. Like
Yep.
it makes sense. Like nobody's gonna go super low. Like a ton of pars, a couple birdies. Like you just like it's a tough championship course.
Yeah. It's a striker's golf course.
For sure. But the people that are like take that as like just a single grain of salt in defense of like a live event, like I don't care where live events are at. I honestly don't really care where PGA Tour events are at. I like them like seeing tough golf courses though. Just like I would say for a long time, like I wish that there was that we get more Australian golf. That's why I'm so pumped this week that the Australian Open's going on.
Oh my
And
gosh.
not only the fact that it's like people automatically think that it's like, oh, this is just like a dual event because the men and women are playing together. Nah, 3 categories going on because tomorrow, Friday, the adaptive portion of it starts. So
Tonight.
literally, 3 tournaments going on in one. By the way, shout out to Mike Brown. I hope he plays really good. But outside of that, like, I don't know. I just want to see like good golf courses with like the best players in the world, whatever makes up the field, and go from there. The reason why I bring this up is because the people that automatically think, oh, people are shitting on that take just because it's like anti-live. No, like we're not shitting on the take because it's anti-live. We're shitting on the take because like it's not the best course in Europe.
Right.
You know? Like that's why, and anybody who might say anything like differing to that for some reason turns into like, oh, you're a live hater or the most favorites, whatever. You can be a PGA Tour dick rider, as people say all the time. Like, no, that's not the case at all. It's just like it's a bad quote. And I'm sure if given the opportunity to ask like follow up, like Sergio would have probably explained that. But the people who literally take it and drive their agenda.
Yeah. Those that are coming into the bar, like looking for a fight.
For sure. Like go look at like politics on Twitter. That's there's a reason why. Like I never understand.
Yeah.
There's like no conversations that ever take place. It's just pure discourse.
I just don't understand how people can like, go into that, and how does that can't make them feel good, right? Maybe it does. Maybe some people are so sick that like, that the fight is what gets them excited and happy and gets those endorphins flowing. But every time I've gotten into like an argument on any sort of social media, at the end of the day, I've been like, whoa, that was so not worth it. That was a horrible idea. Why did I even say anything?
You get all fired up about literally. You have no clue who these people are. I don't know why you let it affect you so much. On the flip side of it, on Instagram, being that it's a more visual means, the people who like I think a lot of the meme accounts that are out there are very, very funny. And I'm caught in between two worlds because like I'm very, very in on like there's some on the military and veteran side, there's some horrible takes that are out there that I'm like, oh, that's hilarious because I've experienced it.
Right.
In the golf world, it's very, again, divisive of like, you're either in on something or you're not in on something. And if you show a video, it's dissected a million different ways. You find out who golf swing guy is. You find out quickly who like golf etiquette guy is. And then you'll find the people who just love posting stuff because it's people doing dumb shit on a golf course. And like, that's what gets them going. So you have more golf traditionalists that jump on, and instead of just ignoring it, they like feel the need and think it's making a difference to like point out some injustice.
Right. Yeah.
Why?
Disrespectful, whatever that was, that they posted was.
Like, just have some fun. The guys out there playing golf, doing whatever it is. I just don't understand why people feel the need or feel so empowered to throw some opinion out there in a comment or a tweet and like act like it's gonna solve the world.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's not.
Right. Now, on the flip side, the people that get me pumped up, and I think our YouTube is like has some really awesome use of social media and commentary there. But those that the ones that get me excited is very often when we're doing this content stuff, there's things that like make us laugh that no one else would know because they
Yeah.
weren't there for the thing, right? Like the whole task thing. I was very unsure if that would like make it out of the editing bay, but like that had us rolling forever. But those that are able to like pick out and understand those little Easter eggs that show up in the content that we generally just do for ourselves.
Yeah.
That's always really, really good stuff to see that land and see comments about those little Easter eggs and little bits and pieces that make us chuckle.
And the people that might be members at a place that we film at or have visited there before and like just are so like appreciative of it. I saw a guy today on the video from last night that's like, hey, I've been a member at this course for 20 years. I'm a member of the Winter League that we talked about. You guys need to come film again during the Winter League. And I'm like, no, that does not sound like fun. But I appreciate, yes, I'm sure it is. So thank you so much.
I wonder if anybody in the Winter League is OD'd on that poisonous herb in its mouth.
That's good. Speaking of that day, probably one of the toughest days of filming that I've had in both tourist sauces that I've been a part of, filming wise at least. Listen, it came out very beautifully. You saw Solly and Neil having a lovely stroll around Copenhagen, getting some bikes and seeing the city. But it was a grind out there for us on a very difficult golf course with guys doing their best, going to battle. But ultimately, it was a very early wake up, and it was probably my most like hangry like day ever, just because we didn't eat any food. We kind of, it's just one of those days where no matter how much planning goes into it, you're just constantly behind the 8 ball, and you got to do more stuff, and no time ever opened up. And by the way, what was on film, like we actually ended like we only went to like 1 o'clock that day. There's still a whole second part of that day that hasn't came out yet.
Yeah. Not to mention that you forgot your jacket and had to go buy like a 200 euro jacket in the
most expensive pullover I've ever seen. It's ridiculous.
That was tough. That was a bummer. That was a tough day. I got to give it to DJ and Randy. I think that it would have been like super easy for them to kind of throw in the towel and just be like, God, I'm done, man. Like this sucks. We stink. But they didn't, man. They went through all the way to the end. And I think the music kind of expressed that in the last couple holes, but it did get tense. Like it got exciting and Randy was all in, man, which is great to see. Until he just Oscar bravoed on that approach shot. But
anyway. I was up by the green already, never even saw that shot. And then when like I saw you sprinting across the fairway to go try to get the shot of him coming in, I'm like, oh, like Ben's got to go to the bathroom. He's running up on the sand dune. Like we're on the 18th fairway. Like you can't wait to go to the bathroom. And then Neil walked up and he's like, no, man, like that's where Randy's second shot went. I was like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah,
not good at all.
Can we talk about Tron's putting?
Yeah. Let's talk about
it. Well, it was awful. You played with him more than, or you were following him more than I had leading up to that point. But he had let me know. He's like, yeah, it's like really bad, which is really funny because Neil, we sat down and both of us tried to give him like a full on lesson at Visby to get that back in line, and seemingly still kind of riding those feels, which is great. What would have to happen in your putting stroke for you to decide to try and putt one-handed?
Well, yes, a lot is going on there. He legitimately had the yips, and it was all in his right hand, which when I talked to him about it and he's like, I'm actually going to putt one-handed today. I'm like, okay, cool. And then when on the first green, when he putts one-handed, I'm like, why are you putting with like the yip hand? Like that doesn't make any sense at all. Like, what are we doing here? And he's already everything when he's hitting his putt, the putter face is wide open. And if you're gonna do that, like with your right hand, it's hard to close your putter blade.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna do that, like putt single handed with your left hand. Like at least you can try to keep it on line, and you'll guarantee that it can be squared up at impact.
Right.
We talked about it, and the video shows it, and like I thought we were good at Visby too. At Great Northern, it was back to like you could see like the literal like jitters in it, and it was just getting so bad. And we talked about cross-handed, and then he's like, he tried it, and it just wasn't comfortable for him. And I'm like, dude, like you have to neutralize your right hand. And we're like, just putt with the claw, go to the claw. And he put it on there, and he felt comfortable and started rolling the rock and making some putts. But really, like it just helped neutralize it the best that he could at the time.
Right.
Now we're gonna wait and see future episodes. Like there's still some issues there, obviously. Like there's never a get fixed quick when we comes to putting it in his hands. But we tried to neutralize it the best that we can. And obviously he is claiming that there was hundreds and hundreds of feet of putt made, but ultimately like he was a marker. Like, I'm sorry, buddy. Like we're not hustling around to get like every single one of your shots
Right.
there.
Right. He did make some putts, and
He
more
did.
than anything, he didn't lose strokes on the green.
No, for sure. But from your optics, like you're saying, like it was dire, man.
Yeah. No, it was tough. But yeah, I can't wrap my head around like honestly being like, I'm gonna go play around a golf at a place I'll likely never ever play again, and I'm gonna putt one-handed today. That's got to be some tough spots. It sounds like a good video idea though. We should TC is tee to green, and then anything green surrounds or on the green, someone else takes over the wheel and see what you shoot.
What I love about TC though is that even when things are going like wrong, he's the first person to be like, all right, let's go figure it out. Let's go dig it out. And he'll like put in the time. Like he did not like, we were not planning on having him there that day. We thought it was just going to be Big and DJ playing their match. And he very much wanted to go grind it out because he knew he's got a big match coming up and he wanted to get ready for it, which I give him all the props in the world because he found something. Let's just hope that it can carry him through at least the rest of the season.
Exactly right. More to come there. What else? You got anything else, Code?
Nah, just kind of bummed. And I mean, I talked about the Aussie Open. As excited I am about that, like the cat should be playing right now too. So definitely bummed that he had a WD from the hero. But I got my guy, K Wayne Colby, hopefully working him out a little bit, getting the foot back to a good spot. And it just seems like a tough time for the cat moving around.
Yeah. Some of those videos of him like helping people on the putting green and stuff like look tough. Where do you net out with like Cat in general at this point in his career? Like, are you desperately wanting to see him? Do you think he can win again? Do you, because I'm almost, I guess what I'm trying to say is I've had a long, hard conversation with myself because I'm as big of a Cat fan as you possibly could be. But I almost am at the point where it's like, dude, like, don't play with me, dog. Like, don't tell me you're going to play and then not play. I'd rather you just like be done, man. And like at the PGA this last year when he had to bow out, it was just like, fuck, man. I was so excited for my wife to come and watch you on Sunday and like didn't get that. And I'm just very unsure on how I feel if I do want to continue to see him out there or if I would just prefer to not have to even think about it.
Well, I think like Tiger Woods playing golf is always good, right? And I think that's where people like expectation management a little bit is like, he's in my opinion, the greatest golfer that ever played. Like he can stack records, whatever you want to do. But like, I get it. I'm from that generation and he's the GOAT. He's the best ever to me. I also think that like, even though Tiger, like if he goes out and plays in some tournaments and like, he made the fucking cut. Like,
yeah.
And like him on the golf course is better than him not playing at all. Like I don't want to see like Tiger out just like moping around and stuff like that. But I also like know that he's given us a ton already. And the more and more like opportunities that we get to see him, the better off the golf world is. Now, expectation wise, I don't know. I think that like him winning the Masters in 2019 was phenomenal. I think that it was also crazy looking back at it.
Yeah.
I also know that like from my side of it, and I said this when the accident happened, is that there's a lot of reasons why people that I know that had really bad like lower limb injuries years down the line end up like getting their legs or part of their legs amputated just because of
Really?
yeah, you can only if things can only heal so much and like overall quality of life stuff. Prosthetics are amazing, and I'm not saying by any means like that's what the cat should do, but like I've seen other people like be able to go and live and do everything else just because ultimately like the pain will go away.
Yeah, and that's interesting to hear you say that based on his commentary this past week, saying like I've only got so much left in the leg. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
Right? Like, does that mean that you can only like there's a bar that you can't clear, or does that mean that like you're running out of time with it? Which is just a wild concept to wrap your head around. And I could be thinking way too deeply into that and feeding off of past conversation I've heard. But now it's interesting to hear you say that and then hear, kind of net that up with the commentary that he provided this past week about the leg.
yeah. I will say, no matter if Tiger goes out and misses like every cut in the world, like I still enjoy watching Tiger play golf. I enjoy his commentary. I enjoy everything. If you want to say that he's like that makes him more of like a ceremonial golfer or whatever else, like that's just your expectations on him.
Right.
I still would absolutely love and would go and like try to watch whatever event that he's in.
Yeah. I will never forget this year at the PGA on Saturday using the left trees, and I mean it was dead, like super dead. Like get it out, have a 210-yard shot back up, and just his ability. He closed his eyes and like looked at this thing and hit this shot that was like 75 yards dead straight, and then blinker and just 90-degree turn the other direction. And it was like, whoa, just seeing the whole process and seeing him pull it off and be able to get that ball 150 yards down the fairway, worth it. That's and to your point, like if you get one of those every tournament, worth it. Unbelievable stuff.
I think that's part of like the allure too that we're kind of missing like on the PGA Tour now, is that a lot of those like shot makers are just kind of gone.
Yep.
And that's where like we talk about it all the time, where like the villains of the PGA Tour are the majority of the ones who like went to live, but they're also like some of the most, like seeing Bubba getting up and down from places, seeing P. Reed getting up and down from places. It's phenomenal golf, man. Like I fucking miss seeing that shit.
Yeah, seeing Cam hit the exact shot that is expected.
Yeah, you're gonna see it like at majors and stuff like that, but I don't know. This is again bummed that you don't get to see him tee it up at like all these big events all the time.
Agreed. Hopefully he figures it out and moves back in. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still stuck with that. Helps clarify a few things that, I think my expectations just aren't quite right when it comes to the cat.
Do I wish he could go out there and like fucking take a run at every tournament? Sure. But, and look at where he was like a year and a half ago. People thought the dude was going to die.
Right.
The fact that he's like playing in tournaments again is phenomenal. I hope that like, his quality of life continues to improve and he's able to get out there and play more and whatnot. But, I take it kind of for what it is. Very, very thankful, grateful for that.
God, do you remember when that news was kind of breaking? And we were getting some like, kind of ahead of the curve or seemingly ahead of the curve. There was nothing out in the public, and we're like, yo, Tiger might die.
Yeah.
It's like somebody's lying. Like, what's going on? How are we hearing this information?
Well, the guy was like, he's like, yeah, my brother-in-law is a firefighter in whatever county it was in California, and like was sending us updates. I'm like, well, this is wild. Like, how do you vet this?
Right.
There's nothing on the news at the time. I was pulling up like police trackers and everything, trying to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Right.
Insane day. Yeah. I'll never forget that.
Very, very reminiscent of Kobe Day, where it was like, whoa, what? Yeah, very, very much like couldn't do anything else. Was thinking about that too much and like wanting additional information of what actually happened and if it was true. But yeah, that was a wild day a couple Februaries ago.
Sucks. Not ending this on not the highest of moods, but Benny, I appreciate it as always, buddy.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate you hosting us. God, I'm excited for you to go hang out with the dudes tonight and figure out how they do the whole damn thing.
You know, I don't like fangirl a lot, but it's a pretty big day. Very excited about it. So
very much the top of the mountain for our sphere, our business sphere, hanging out with the dudes.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think the kids are like getting into like their stuff now. So we've watched a ton of it. The only other like group of people I could think of that would be like crazier than that is like the Mr. Beast guy, just because of like watching some of the stuff that he puts together. I'm like, this is insane. This is incredible. I want to be a contestant on Mr. Beast. You give me $1 million to do something? Sure, sign me up.
Mr. Beast knows how to spend some money, which is like
cool. For sure. All right, buddy. Enjoy the weekend.
We'll see you.